everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host, Tom Quee here. If you're not familiar what we do here on the show, we have battle rappers on and we go through their history. We celebrate the battles, the writing, we explore the behind-the-scenes stuff, and it's just great to chop it up with these guys and girls that I've admired for so long. I'm sure you have as well. If you enjoy the show, get at me at Battle Rap Resume, battleresume@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with me, we have a Patreon as well, patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume. I put loads of stuff on there. You may have seen recently that I've started a series for Ruin Your Day called World Rap Championships Rewind, where I'm going through every single division of the 2007 tournament, watching every single battle and commenting on any genius or idiotic stuff that I find. They all go on the Patreon first, as do all the episodes like this as well. iTunes is there. If you want to leave us a review, that is greatly appreciated. Support the show in any way, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, today we have a very cool guest, a very old school guest. I mean, you know, his first battle on Don't Flop was in June 2010, and going back watching these battles has really made me appreciate how influential Stowaway was to a certain point. I mean, in Stowaway's style, we see the birth of that, you know, slightly abstract, sardonic, sarcastic. I mean, Heretic sums it up really well in the battle that we're going to get to from Sunburn 2, but, you know, in him we have a sort of antecedent here for, you know, the Shufflos, the Grists, the Harry Bakers, the Simon Moles, all those sort of figures, but, you know, altogether, really technically skilled battler, really funny writer as well. I'm looking forward to getting into this material. Really enjoyed going back and making the notes. Stowaway, how's it going, man?
Good evening, man. Wow, that was quite an intro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate you bigging me up so much.
Of course, and let's talk about the early days of rap, even before battle rap. Like, how did that begin for you?
Well, I guess before Don't Flop, I was making music for like a couple of years. I was doing some spoken word stuff for a while. When I was kind of living in Bristol, I was doing quite a lot of like open mic nights and stuff around there, and I made like a spoken word album, and then I started making beats and sort of rapping on beats and stuff. And that was kind of, I've been doing that for like maybe a year or two, and then I kind of got in touch with it was back in the MySpace days, so that shows how long ago it was. But yeah, and that's so I've been doing music and stuff a little bit before and rapping and like yeah. And
was that always as Stowaway? Was that always your alias?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'd had that name for like quite a while, I guess. Yeah.
And what, any origin, or was it just you like the sound of it, or?
I kind of, I mean, there's a little bit of a thing to it. I guess like when I first started, there wasn't like a lot of rappers around that were like my kind of style or whatever. So like I seemed like a person who wasn't kind of supposed to be there. So I was like a stowaway, like I was
right.
hiding out in the rap scene, doing my raps, and so I don't know, it had like a suggestion that it's like a person, like a figure, like a character almost, or something like I don't know, something like that, some pretentious nonsense.
Of course. And like battle rap, then was it Don't Flop that first introduced you to the concept, or?
Well, no, I'd seen a year or two before I started battling. I was in uni, and I picked up a DVD of one of the Skribbzvs. Yes, it was the year Illmac just, ruined everybody and beat Mac Lethal in the final. And so me and my mates kind of watched that DVD just hundreds of times, just like enjoying all those battles and stuff. And I didn't really like think any more of it. And then I saw like I started watching like Grind Time and stuff a little bit after that, a year or two after that maybe. And then I saw like the really early Don't Flop battles where they were kind of like in a car park in Brighton or in a park when it was raining, like those proper early ones. And then I kind of messaged her from there. So yeah.
And the first battle then, which, as I said, went down June 2010, versing Bigg.
Yeah, interesting matchup, right?
Very interesting. I mean, it's got 6,000 odd views. As with most of the tryouts when we do these episodes, I've never seen this before. At the start, there is an advert appealing to help to send Don't Flop MCs to King of the Dart in Canada. And, I mean, the PayPal address is there, which would later sort of doom the whole thing. So it's interesting to see that. Do you remember what this event was called?
I can't. I think mentions it in the intro. I think it was. Yeah. I can't remember. It was like the Bristol Beatdown or something. It had like Bristol in the name and some kind of murdery, slaughtery thing going on with it.
Yeah. It had Bristol. It was alliterative. It was Bristol Burial.
Oh, nice.
Bristol Burial.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean,
we killed all the MCs. You got to bury them. It's the respectful thing to do.
Yo, I met your girl too. She's pretty wild. but I mean like pure rape, I wouldn't touch her with yours, mate. She's all violent and strange. Her natural habitat's by the side of a lake where she lies in wait to eat passing tourists. That's her fight of the day. I've seen her bite off a child's face, then slide away and hide in a cave. Does that not strike you as strange? Man, the chick looks like Brian May, with a bear's face. She's the size of an airbase. To be fair, mate, she's a bit gruesome. If her behaviour's a bit confusing, just stick to humans.
Us pretty hyped, you know, there's quite a few people there, there's a new venue. What was Don't Flop at this time? Because this is way before any of the sort of epoch-making battles, you know, the Grist, Lunacy, etc. Like, did it have buzz in the sort of spoken word rap circles you were in? Did people know about it, or...?
Not really, man. For me, like, yeah, it was a totally separate thing from like the scene I was involved with doing spoken word, and then there was a slightly different scene I was involved with doing music and stuff with like some people from Cardiff and stuff in different places. So it was like a third world of stuff going on that I was kind of getting involved in. So yeah, I mean, I'd really only seen the battles on YouTube and stuff, and so yeah, I kind of didn't know what to expect, and then like. When I turned up and Bigg was my opponent, I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? Like, it was pretty mad because like I was talking to like him and his boys before the thing, and they were like low-key trying to like intimidate me a bit and like buoy me off and stuff. So it was kind of weird. I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? And then and I thought, oh man, this guy's really going to get in my face. He's going to be proper brutal, and he's going to be like, you know, talking about all kinds of murdery madness. Yeah. And as you saw from the footage, his performance was a little bit more subdued than I was expecting.
He's essentially taciturn. He's completely silent. He doesn't choke, but he's at such low volume. I've never seen a battler like it's mad because he's enunciating, he's projecting, but at such, you know, minimal decibels. Literally trying to make these notes, I couldn't hear what he was saying.
It was really confusing to me at the time because I was like, okay, yeah, he's flowing and he's got good patterns and good rhythm and stuff. And like he's talking some greasy, grimy kind of style. But then I was like, why is he doing it so quietly? Like you can't sound threatening if you're like whispering almost. No. That doesn't. No. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. That's weird, but
yeah. I mean, literally, all you can hear is at the end of his third, he says, "Stowaway's just some pussy." That's slightly elevated above all the rest, but I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to hear. It's at a high speed as well.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's to the point where you have to like turn the volume up on that part of the battle to like hear what he's saying. It's kind of wild.
But your material's really there, and people are really enjoying it. And you know, there's a lot of tropes that you'd explore later. You have a good descriptive flair. You say that his chick looks like Brian May with a bear's face. She's the size of an air base.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty silly. I guess it's not the deepest stuff, but yeah,
but
it paints the picture.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you're attacking him at least, rather than he's just mumbling. In your second, you're saying how to spot a fake crook. He's got a picture of a gun with him on his Facebook.
That was literally true, man. That was that was facts. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of one-liners that really work well. I love, you look like a child's drawing of a rapper, which he totally does.
Yeah, I didn't. That got a really good reaction in the room at the time. I didn't expect it to go off like that, but yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really strong stuff from you, and you can tell and a lot of the other people are really G'd up by it. And I love watching these old videos and seeing the judging as well. So
it was kind of cool when they had judging. I mean, I'm glad that's kind of faded out in a way, because it's like, I don't know, you could argue that it's kind of pointless in a way and it's kind of arbitrary because but yeah, it is kind of cool to see those those early ones.
Yeah, I mean, Psychosis Holocaust is there, who I think was like cameraman around this time as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
Did he film that? Did he film that battle? Did he film the Bigg battle?
I think he might have done, actually. Yeah, I remember talking to him at the venue and we were like talking about comics and stuff a bit and stuff like that. And, anime or something, I think. But I mean,
always the coolest dude. So hyped for Unit 11, and obviously go check out all the Slimehouse stuff that Theo does as well. We've had him on the show. Innuendo also was there. Adam the rapper.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Adam. Adam's the dude.
I mean, Special Agent, who then went by Agent, Battle Bard, and people like that. They're all pretty much praising you and saying what I've said, that Bigg is literally the tinniest battle rapper I think I've ever experienced. How did it feel to get the win?
It was very cool, man. Like I said, I really didn't know what to expect, and then there was like the randomness of the person I was like battling and the quietness and stuff, and so it was cool. I was yeah, I was really happy, and like I said, I got some good comments from the judges and stuff. So yeah, for a first battle, yeah, I think it went down pretty well, because like I didn't know whether my stuff would go across, or like I said, I've been watching battles for a while, so I kind of understood the structure and stuff, but the way I rap on tracks and stuff isn't really like punchlines and that kind of thing. So I wasn't sure how the material would go over and whatever. But yeah, I was obviously very happy. One of the things I kind of like is like you can see like during my rounds when I'm battling Cuz, you can see his boys in the background. They're like the 3 or 4 dudes behind him,
right?
And they're kind of like laughing at the stuff I'm saying about him and stuff, and like trying not to laugh because they're like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing at this, or but like trying to put up a little bit of front and stuff. So that's quite funny.
And I want to stress as well, this is back in the day. This is back when Don't Flop would have the the footer at the bottom of the page just plastered there, and
sure.
And I always say, like, you have like AD, BC, like you have very much before the Don't Flop logo went on the thumbnails in between the two battlers, and after, and this is
for sure, man.
Quite a bit before. Now I'm trying to work out my timelines, because one of the things that gets mentioned a lot in your battles, namely by you actually, is how hard you flopped in that freestyle battle versus and Unan. And this was right. So I kept hearing about this, and I was like, I want to watch this. So yesterday I just Googled it randomly, and there it is from the.
Is it still up? Yeah.
Yeah. So the Aeon Festival 2010 with Sicker Studios.
Yo, listen up! I spit sick. The battle isn't started. He's already having a bitch fit. Fuck it, I'm heavy and raw. Check the diversity, ethnic and dwarf.
Deal with tracks. Later, these two will share the same sleeping bag.
The same sleeping bag. I don't care if the beats are whack. Fuck it. I didn't have time to think. This grimy cunt totally stinks.
Yo, me and Oliver Reed will demolish your team. Yo.
Oh, what the fuck? Yo, I'm talking it rude.
So when did this take place? Was this like after Bigg? Was this around the Skribbzvs era?
I think it might have been before or after Skribbzvs, maybe after, I think.
Okay.
It's maybe between Pendragon and Skribbzvs. I can't remember.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it was kind of in that sort of summer period. So
it was very early on, yeah.
It's very early on. And for people who aren't aware, Don't Flop, obviously they would go on to do this many times as well. Go to festivals, have a bit of stage time, try and promote the league. So it opens with, and again, people go out and find this. This is a really cool bit of footage. I mean,
I'm not sure about that.
Not in a flagellating way for you, but I mean, I think and Unan and Adam do decent in this.
It's an interesting bit of early history for sure.
Exactly. And starts with Kruger getting names out of a hat, and he gets the name Greg out, but he doesn't know that's your name, so he's like confused who it is.
Oh, right.
And I mean, how did this come about then? So essentially, it's Unan and versus you and Adam the Rapper in a freestyle on-beat clash. How did this happen?
Well, I asked, like, was like asking people to like do some battles and stuff. I can't remember exactly. I think I can't remember how I got started, but originally I was supposed to do a written battle against someone, and I think I said I'd do some freestyle battles as well. But I thought I'll prepare just a bunch of random like bars and stuff, and because I can't freestyle that well. I do much better when I write stuff. I can maybe ad lib like a flip, which is like a bar or two, something real simple, but yeah, not like a whole battle. So I stupidly thought, I'll try and do it anyway. And then I gave myself some time to prepare in the afternoon before the thing, but then the battles got brought forward early, and they were like, "Oh right, okay, we're just gonna do freestyle battles. Fuck it," because all those other dudes like Adam and and they're all fine with freestyling, and it's that's something they've always done, in their progression as rappers, kind of thing, and Kruger and stuff. So I ended up sort of doing it last minute. I wasn't really prepared, and it didn't go that well. I wasn't quick enough on my feet, to be honest.
No, it's very difficult. I appreciate that, and the beat is very quick as well. And you guys have your first round. Me and
originally it wasn't going to be on beat either. That was another thing which messed me up a bit, because I thought if I've got a little bit of time to think and jumble stuff around, but they were like, oh yeah, we'll do it on beat. That'll be cool. And I was like, okay, we'll do it on beat. That'll be cool.
And I don't want to dwell too long on this. I don't want to be mocking you or anything. Obviously,
no, it's fine, man. It's funny.
But I mean, again,
especially as I was battling such good people as well. I messed up in front of Adam, and Unan, who went on to be obviously is and then Unan and Adam obviously went on to be big names. So it was Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you could say I had difficult opponents, so maybe.
Oh yeah. No, there's a high caliber there, and I mean, you sort of flubbed the lines in the first, and actually apologizes to the crowd and says, I'll show you how it's supposed to be done, and Unan has some nice stuff here, and again, you sort of struggle in the second, saying, I'm going to murk this breader. Everyone give it up for the most nervous person ever. And you sort of hold your hands up, and then one thing I've never seen, I've watched a fuck ton of 2-on-2 battles, and I've never seen this before, where Adam basically disses you in his rounds.
He was annoyed with me.
Yeah.
Dude, he was pissed with me for like the rest of the day. Like, I avoided him for a bit after the battle because he was kind of like annoyed, and then like I went up to talk to him later, and he was just like not having it. Like,
right,
just, like,
shit.
Yeah. When even the person you're battling with starts dissing you, like it's not going well.
Yeah. And Unan has a really cool reference to Adam the Rapper as well. He calls him Ollie the Bum, who was a hidden character on Tony Hawk's 2, I think. And
yeah.
You remember?
Right,
yeah. And he doesn't really get... Yeah, really deep cut. He gets no reaction, but I've got a lot of respect for that. And Unan and are great, and Adam does well as well. And it's
Adam kills it always, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
Kruger comes in and basically gets the crowd to make noise for the winner, and no noise is made for you apart from Adam screaming in the mic when the silence opens. And explains that they've got to leave the stage now because the Free Amigos are coming on. He shouts out the website. He says, "If you like that kind of shit, it's a million times better when it's written." And then
yeah, very true in my case. Definitely.
But I mean, okay. Outside of this, in Don't Flop, you joined in the middle of 2010. You had Pendragon, as you mentioned, Skribbzvs as well. I mean, the Skribbzvs clash briefly. He sort of chokes a little bit, but I think you did really well. And Disaster's in the crowd, right?
Yeah, he popped up like right as the battle was starting. We were like waiting for him to arrive, and it's like one of those things where the dudes that come over from the States, there's always some travel thing happens, and they're running late and whatever. So, like, we were like, oh, where's Diz? Oh, okay, we'll start the battle. And then he just popped up, and he was like, hey, he just popped up in the middle of the crowd right before the battle. So, yeah. That was a cool little thing to have caught on camera there at the start of the battle. It's nice.
And, it wasn't long before you were facing off against internationals. Your fourth battle on Don't Flop was versus Henry Bowers, who...
Yeah, that's true, man.
Massive figure at that time, even.
I'm up all night, I talk with Osiris. Only two things scare me, that's boredom and silence. Crystal skull from Atlantis, cranium replacement, and bones made from diamond. You won't make the tiniest dent. Yeah, I just did that, and anyone who thinks it was a foolish measure, that was for him just to prove I can do it better. Yo, your spoken word and rapture joke, you're whack, I'll leave you lacking hope. I do not give a fuck, I will slap the Pope. Yo, I'll smash shows and battles from Wakefield to France, kid. I'm on that list of names with Wakefield and Francis. Don't take any chances, man, I don't sleep ever. You came from Sweden to get beaten, bet that don't feel clever. I hope a poorly constructed IKEA bookcase falls on you and you die.
Just messaged me and said, like, oh, there's this Swedish guy, like, he hasn't battled in the UK before, do you want to battle him? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll check out his stuff. And yeah, so I like listened to some of his tunes and stuff, watched some of his battles. All his battles were Swedish. I'm pretty sure I was his first battle in English. I'm not 100% on that, but I remember, like, when I was, like, researching and watching his stuff, all his battles were in Swedish, so, like...
No, you're right. I mean, looking on his verse track, there's two before you. There's verse Shazam on Base Mentality, which has over 1 million views, crazily. And he also battled Oh Hund on Ozone Battles. Looks like a female who's battling there, maybe. But, the Bowers clash went down. This is Blood in the Water 4, Part 2... film
Jam in Brixton.
Yeah. I mean, a legendary early event.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was a really cool day. There was some crazy battles went down. It was one of those ones where I was glad to be there on the day and watching stuff.
And what was your prep like? What was your writing like? Like, how did you rehearse for battles?
Well, I don't know. I'd like just when I got the opponent, I'd like watch their battles and stuff, listen to their music, and just start trying to sort of like put ideas together. And then, I don't know, just keep writing stuff, just pages of bars, and then try and cluster stuff together that the themes go together, that kind of thing, to try and make bigger chunks and stuff, and then just start putting it into the 3 rounds and timing it and trimming it down and making it flow together and taking little bits out so it the rhythm's right and that kind of thing.
And the act of memorization for you, how does that go?
I just most of the time I'd type up the rounds or just write them out on paper and just read them over and over again and just keep doing that until I could kind of remember them. And then whenever I was just walking around and stuff, I'd be running the bars in my head trying to remember them and stuff like that. And then once I kind of got them down, just do some kind of out loud practice rapping them and trying to do some sort of gestures that fit with stuff and that little bit of more performance stuff and that kind of thing.
I mean, we're firmly in the early days here. Is flipping the coin on his phone on an app.
Nice. On an app, yeah.
And you guys, I don't know if you remember, you guys are given real space. Like, there's so much performance area between you. Like, people are really step back.
Yeah. I really like that, man. That's I think is my favourite sort of way of battling, is like having a pit thing like that and then having a bit of space and you can like move around and then like whichever way you're facing, there's some crowd there you can kind of talk to a little bit and deliver stuff to and, you know, look around and get a feel for like whether people are feeling the bars and that kind of thing, man. It was, it was a good space to perform in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I idolise Henry, really. I think his style is
he's amazing.
Absolutely out of this world. He has such an intricate batch of writtens here. You know, he has some nice kind of continental stuff as well. He mentions his country's strong worker unions and stuff like that.
Your union's Jack.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And, you know, your first as well is replete with lots of funny stuff. If he's here, who's guarding the rainforest?
Yeah, I like that one, man.
Your head would look the same if it was upside down as well, is strong.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I like the silly stuff like that where it like makes you picture or imagine a thing.
Yeah,
like, puts a picture in your head, kind of thing. Yeah.
Not recommending box sets, but Get Lost.
Yeah, that's quite good, man.
Yeah.
I still think that's all right.
I think if Shocks the Rebel delivered that with gusto, that'd be a haymaker.
Like screamed it in someone's face proper aggressively.
And maybe did a little Lost scheme building up to it as well, or something like that. Like, you know.
The punches I land.
Let's go. You still got it. Like... Yeah. You're hatching something. Yeah. And Bowers again has successful second. You know, Monty Python is mentioned. Your mom used pubes as dental floss as well. I mean, just again a really, really fun battle, and it seemed like you stepped up to the challenge. You know, Bowers is he's a pretty supreme MC, and he went on to.
He's an incredibly good performer, man. Way more like seasoned, like live performance wise than me. You know, he'd been doing like big gigs in Sweden for years and like poetry stuff, and like, you know, so he's properly seasoned in that. So yeah, I did try and like, I don't know, like make my performance a bit bigger and stuff maybe, and try and make a small attempt to match up to that, because he's a killer, man. His performance is just nuts. Like it's it's like overpowering. And like you were saying, that was a really good space as well, because it gave him loads of space to move around and do all these crazy gestures and like the fold up table and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, he catered to the UK crowd to a certain extent. He mentions Ronnie O'Sullivan at the end of his third, which is, palm the Glock and bang that shit because it's a glockenspiel. I'm sampling it in your third is really, like, there's just lots of just, I don't know, I don't want to say I was surprised, but you know what I mean? Like going back and watching this stuff, I was just quite delighted, really. I just think that a lot of it's aged brilliantly, and I think people need to...
That's good to hear, thanks.
You know, I mean, and this is on 250,000 views as well, so I think it's one of your most viewed battles.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's wild how many views that got because of Sweden and stuff. And it's pretty crazy, for sure.
And I don't know if you remember this, but Bowers, in his third, talks about a fight going on in the corner. I'm guessing this was a sort of taster of the big Cannon Tenshu thing.
No, it was actually during our battle. There was a scuffle kicked off in the crowd. I think it was during my second round. There's a bit where there's like a weird edit and the crowd goes like a little bit quiet and weird. And it was, like literally to the right of me in the crowd, there was like some sort of scuffle happening. And they had to like stop the battle for a minute, calm it down, and then go back. And then like when I started rapping and I don't know if you can tell really in the footage, but the energy was kind of weird and the crowd was like a little bit distracted and it was a bit, I don't think there's none of the actual fight like left in the footage, but I think go around and stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely see it scoop out a bit of the vibe, certainly. And kind of a rule really on Battle Rap Resume is that if any battlers have battled Soul, we have to talk about the Soul battle.
Of course, man. Soul's a legend, man. Soul, absolute killer.
Listen, your name's got to change, man. It's frankly wrong. The only Soul I respect's the one from Anticon. What sort of crack are you on, you pea-brain? On beats, you sound like a wee-ween. That's Scotch for baby. You're so pale and screwed up, your MC name should be E-Face. Yo, and you got censored out your battle by the dudes at Lab for being too whack. You're so nerdy, you make me look like Tupac or that dude Math. Yo, look, I heard you rap so I can handle those. I mangle foes with classic flows and random jokes. You've had it, bro. You'll live as a vegetable. Every girl he ever met wanted to kick him in the testicles, including your mum.
I mean, it's crazy that you battled Soul in June 2011, and look where he is now, like battling Illmac.
I know, man. It's absolutely wild, isn't it? Like, I was watching that battle like the other day, like preparing for this kind of thing, and like. Yeah, man, seeing Soul that early on, it's kind of wild. It's like, you know, there's like a lot of people I got to battle quite early on who went, like, I'm quite kind of honoured that I got to battle them. Like, I battled O'Shea, like, pretty early on. I wasn't on Don't Flop, it was on...
Got Beef.
Got Beef, yeah. And, like, Soul and, like, you know, like, Unan and a few other people.
You battled Wizard as well, just before Soul?
Oh man, yeah. I love that battle, man. That's probably one of my favourite battles.
I haven't actually seen that battle. I need to go back and watch that one.
Oh, Wizard stuff in that is he just does ridiculous gun bars like all 3 rounds. It's just absolutely over the top and insane. It's like it's amazing. Yeah.
And this Soul Clash marks about a year or so of you in the battling game. This is your 8th battle, so you were very busy. Okay, there was, 2-on-2 here and there, or whatever, but a lot of these were quite high pressure clashes. Like, did you feel suited to this? Were you happy to just keep going on? Was it strenuous for you? Or?
I mean, no, I was enjoying it, man. Like, I enjoyed the writing process and that kind of thing, and like, I was cool just, I don't know, like bopping around to different places on my own, just turning up and battling and. Yeah, that was it, man. I was just into doing it and wanted to keep doing as many battles as possible and try and improve and that kind of thing. Try different things out. Yeah.
So the Soul Clash is to the Test 5. Blizzard looking so young in the front.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
I mean, this is part of the Times Change tournament as well. This is the one of your band camps is plugged. Amanova.
Oh yeah, that's weird, man.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a weird mistake. Like I've got an electronic music project called Amanova, which is like, synthwave music.
Oh yeah.
Like So I was doing that from like 2013 or something maybe, and I think like I'd maybe messaged her on Facebook using my account for that. And so for some reason they put that on, that ended up being at the start of the thing, but there's nothing to do with it. It's like, it's kind of weird, a weird little artifact there. But it's like an electronic music project that I do kind of as well.
No Scottish jokes, you say, at the start of your first.
That may not have been true.
No. And something Heretic would bring up in your clash at Sunburn too. You say the word anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, you say.
Just thought I put that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said
your girl calls my dick, I should say, was the setup. Yeah.
And then I ruined it by doing like a dick joke at the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of clever and then extremely lowbrow at the same time.
Yeah. And, I mean, Soul goes on. You being from Cardiff as well. I mean, let's talk about the Welsh scene. You were sort of the Welsh guy, weren't you, for Barra? I know Odie was around as well, but there weren't too many names at this time.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, I'm not Welsh. I just lived, I went to university in Aberystwyth. And then, after that, I lived in Cardiff for, 3 or 4 years, and I was kind of involved with, people around there, in music, like Rough Styles and Squid Ninjas, like Scammer, and they ended up, a couple of those people, battling on Don't Flop at various points. And so I think, I was just kind of making tunes and doing stuff with those people. And there was, a small battle league started in Cardiff, which was cool because it meant I didn't have to travel for battles. So I did a few battles there just to kind of practice for bigger Don't Flop battles and stuff like that. So I guess I kind of got associated with being Welsh or being from Cardiff.
I mean, he talks about the exposing you as being shit off the top that we spoke about earlier as well. I think this was the first time it got referenced, and I was curious to find that out. Soul has some fantastic stuff in this first round as well, really strong. Going in on the whole Welsh idea, going in on you being this sort of knowing about drug kingpins and this sort of stuff, ironically, and you knowing someone on the corner with the bomb like Minesweeper.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
And I mean, tons of Stowaway rhymes as well. That's a bunch of stuff rhyming with Stowaway, all of it good. None of it rhymed with Go Away, so you probably should.
Yeah, brutal, man. That's a proper gut punch, that one, man.
Yeah.
His delivery as well, you probably should. It's proper, he just kills it,
And that whole stowaway rhyming with go away, that was kind of an early meme, wasn't it, in Don't Flop?
Yeah, that did kind of become a meme. Like, it got brought up in a lot of battles and stuff. I never really minded it that much. It wasn't like I was like that mad about it. It just like just kept being brought up.
Yeah. I mean, you go on his height, which is a rare angle on Soul, really. It doesn't really get brought up too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the best angle, to be honest, man. I had loads of, it's weird, I was watching it back, I had loads of bars about him being short. I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, he is, like, shorter than me. Like,
yeah. I mean,
he's not, in general, super short.
No, he's not like...
He's not, like, famous for being a little guy or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure why I went with that angle so much, but...
I mean, you're very little soul with very little soul, and, you know, that sort of furrow that you plough, and, you know, you're getting some good stuff out there. He talks in the second about you teaming up with Pamflit, which we'll get to in a second. Has some great stuff on this as well. Genius and insanity. Why wasn't there one fine line between you? Which gets completely slept on.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. Like, that's a ridiculous bar. That's like, that's early flashings of like the genius level soul we have now, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think it's around this time. Maybe his next battle was against Matter, which is my personal favourite Don't Flop battle. And I think
that's a great battle.
Soul is exceptional. That Matter's really good as well. He mentions conspiracy ideas. This was something you were into at the time. I think Blunt Ted said you were meant to do a conspiracy themed battle together.
Yeah, like I've got an interest in conspiracy theories, but I'm not in a way that they're like real life science fiction. I don't believe them. I just think like they're interesting stories to look into, and like the theories people come up with are kind of interesting and stuff. So I probably like. Maybe in some of the tracks I made, I had some like Illuminati references or some kind of stuff like that. And I think, me and Ted were going to do a battle which was like he was going to be a conspiracy theorist, and I was going to be like a suit CIA guy, X-Files kind of guy who was like trying to cover up conspiracies and persuade everyone that it wasn't real and that kind of thing. And
that's cool.
Yeah, we had an idea for that. Yeah.
Have you listened to Those Conspiracy Guys, the podcast? Have you heard that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's a recommendation for you and any BRR listeners.
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely fantastic.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. So
it's Irish podcast, three mates. The episodes are like 6-7 hours long, and they're all comedians though. It's not like serious. Like they sort of have a wry eye, and it's really really fucking good. And I mean, Soul, it sort of sums up the conspiracy stuff. Wrap metal around your head like a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Ridiculous.
Come on.
Like that bar would still work now for sure.
Yeah. Love that bar.
Yeah, immense.
You had a bar in this third that I wrote that I never used. I always thought it was quite good. And I guess a lot of people have written versions of this bar. I'm going the fuck in like it's cold outside.
Yeah, I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
No reaction. Like I thought that was quite a good like little wordplay thing or whatever. Yeah.
More awkward than drunken sex on a busted bed. You give us a bit of Stowaway history here. You talk about living in Manchester in '96 and getting glass in your eye from a bombing.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's literally true. When there was an IRA bombing in 1996 and like took out the whole like city centre. And at the time, I was living at a music school, which was like I said in the thing, I think like 3 or 4 streets away from where the bomb went off. And I was there on the day, and I literally there was glass flying about, and I got some in my eye, and I had to go to A&E, and like literally just everything I said in the in the round. Unfortunately, I slipped up at the end, like literally on the last word. It's like one of those ones where I just watch it and go, oh man, no, like that was quite a good scheme, and like you wrecked it at literally the last second. Like.
Yeah. I mean, again, people watch this battle, love this battle. Hadn't really watched it, maybe watched it back in the day, but hadn't really watched it properly. Really cool angle that was. And you talk about Soul finally looking like a paedophile science teacher mixed in with his victim.
That's again not the most highbrow angle, maybe.
No, but I mean, fuck
right.
it.
It was an early like. I don't know, grind time influenced kind of, little punchline-y thing, yeah.
You know, he talks about you, Soul in the third, you know, the poet, and trying to get success. No one can help or hear you, like a soliloquy, and he has a Nancy Spungen reference as well.
Yeah.
Which, again, really obscure. He thought Tinchy Strider was Aragorn's son. Open up his Isengard, like, you know, Soul just dropping this
ridiculous
stuff.
Man.
Soul takes it and goes forward in the tournament.
Yeah, rightly so, man. To be honest.
Yeah. I would say so. But I would say by a hair. I think you both fought it out strongly. Like, it was a really good clash. And 2011 for you was still an incredibly busy year. You faced off against one of my all-time favourites, Soweto Kinch. Which,
oh man, yeah.
I mean,
that was a fun battle to do.
What an incredible dude that guy. Outside of the ring, like.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Like he was at I've bumped into him at like festivals a couple of times and stuff. He's like a hell of a good dude.
Yeah,
absolute legend. Like he's awesome.
Yeah, he is, and
just ridiculously talented as well, man. Like his music and stuff is just next level. Like it's wild.
I mean, he did a documentary for BBC 4 recently, a sort of jazz odyssey documentary that was fantastic.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, really, really good. I'm not sure it was on iPlayer or anything. I'm sure it'll be on YouTube or whatever soon. But yeah, you did that battle in the Fiddlers, and me and Soweto actually had him on the show ages and ages ago. We discussed that battle at length.
Really? Yeah.
So that was a good clash. The next battle of yours I want to focus on proper is when you teamed up with Pamflit, as we mentioned prior, versus Real Deal and Fresco.
Battling Fresco and Real Deal.
How important?
I'd rather go Tesco with Ian Beale.
Now you're talking. Your ears are properly crap. They look like wings. You could get a job as a bat. You look like Big Ears and Noddy on crack. Or Super Ted and Spotty are back. It looks like you've got a couple of open brollies attached onto a hat. Motherfucker, you look like Pob when he spat.
Two giant international stars.
Well, it was just like it was part of the tournament thing, man. But it was kind of weird because again, like I was saying before with the disaster thing, like Fresco and Real Deal were like kind of late getting there, and so the battle was supposed to be during the day, and so Eurgh had told us, like me and Pamflit, like, oh, we'll do the battle tomorrow because they're not here yet. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That means we got more, we got another night to rehearse and we'll be like fresh for the morning and stuff. And that's cool. So yeah. So me and Pamflit got like super, super drunk.
Right.
And we were just like drinking between all the battles and just hanging out and just, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then right at the end of the event, Eurgh came and found us and was like, okay, they're here now. We're going to do the battle now, but we're going to have to do it outside. So that's why it like ended up being outside. And that's why me and Pamflit are just like a bit all over the place and not not the most coherent in that battle, because it's literally like the end of the night. It'd be like, if you're at a house party and it's the end of the night and someone came and grabbed you and like, oh yeah, come and do a battle against two international battlers that you've been watching and admiring for years. Like, that was kind of a nightmare the way it ended up, but it was cool to be able to do the battle, man. It was it's like an honor. I used to, Fresco and Real Deal I was big fans of and stuff like that. Obviously they're legends from
they were a 2-on-2 partnership, for ages. Like they did tons of battles.
Man, they were strong, man. They who did they battle? Franchise and someone else.
Zeely 3-2.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And Soul Khan and
Dirtbag Dan. Yeah,
that was it.
That was a good one.
Yeah. They had a lot of good 2-on-2s. They're a good team for sure.
I mean, it's honestly, I love Pamflit. I think he's one of the greatest.
Oh, me too, man. I got so much love for that guy.
Yeah. He is an absolute legend. I mean, I've had him on the show multiple times. Me and him may even be starting our own podcast. It's early days. I don't want to reveal what it's going to be about, but yeah,
nice, I'm on that already. Yeah, I'll be tuning in.
So much love for Pam. How did it come about? You two teaming up?
I can't remember, man. Like exactly. Because the first time we battled 2-on-2, I think we battled Evil Eyes and O'Shea. Mm-hmm. Like I think I'm pretty sure that was before Fresco and Real Deal. But yeah, I can't remember. I think I think he might have been at the event where I battled Big Cuz actually, and I think I just got talking to him then, and we kept in touch online and whatever. And then like I don't know, we were probably just like messing about, sending bars back and forth on Facebook or some stuff like that, and then we ended up like doing some battles and teaming up and stuff.
So
cool.
You're outdoors, as you say, Blood in the Water 5, saying bringing it back to 2008. Tons of people there as well, which is quite impressive. There's a big crowd,
man, for sure.
Big crowd spanning all around. Fresco attacks Pamflit for being gay. Whatever. This is
Surprise.
Yeah, this is the era that we're in. I mean, there's still some good stuff here. Dropping gay shit like Elton was on the John.
Yeah, that's. I mean.
It's kind of
It's a little bit dubious, but
I mean, it's.
You got to look at the context of the time, I guess.
I mean, and Pamflit really just has this energy, this drive. You know, you can just kickstart into these florid multis that you know what AIDS did to Wayne Bridge and all this sort of stuff, and hip hop man times goth fan to the square root of Gok Wan, which I think is what you say as well. And I mean, how did you feel about your performance in comparison to them? Because there was a bit of a divide, I feel, not necessarily in quality, but just in presence, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, like it could have been down. I think it was probably down to like I was doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Being full of vodka by that point, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, I think like and the I don't know, maybe the atmosphere outside is like a little bit tougher than like when you're in a room and everyone's focused. You got like people around the edges and drunk people wandering about. It was a little bit like, I think I don't know, we were just thrown off a little bit. We weren't quite on it, and they sort of turned up, and obviously they're like pros, so they just, you know, did their thing and stuff. So it's like it's a little bit unfortunate the way it worked out. It would have been cool to do it, you know, inside with the proper recording and everything like that, but you know, I still got to battle Fresco and Real Deal, which is like I said, a big honour. So it's cool. I'm cool with it. You know? No,
it's still a really strong exhibition, and I love how Fresco talks about the British and American office in his third, and you know, he admits that David Brent is better than Michael Scott, but Dawn doesn't come anywhere close to Pam in his eyes.
Yeah, that's fair, man. That's a pretty fair observation.
Yeah. I mean, Fresco has I mean, Fresco has some crazy stuff here as well. Talks about buying bars, get better reception when I recharge. This small sort of mobile scheme. He flips your mosquito shirt, saying your relationship's sappy as fuck as well. Which,
That was crazy, man. Yeah. That's Okay. What t-shirt? Oh yeah. That's like a weird noise band called The Locust. That's what that t-shirt. Right. It was like it was a locust on there. So I could have been really pedantic at the time if I'd realised. Actually, it's a locust. It's not a mosquito. They don't bite people. So therefore, your bar is rubbish.
And you say at the end of the third, you say that all the US TV programs are crap. The only exception is Arrested Development, and they cancelled that. I mean, Arrested Development at this time, it was the OG free series, and it is one of the best series in my eyes too.
Oh, it's immense, man. It's like it's up there with the best. It's up there with like Curb Your Enthusiasm and like proper classic. That series, man. It's really good. I think it's really slept on as well. Like I think like massively. People gradually ended up seeing it, but like at the time, I think they showed like some episodes on BBC Two, but at like 4 a.m, and then they randomly stopped showing them after like 7 episodes or something, and I was like, what happened to that? And it was kind of weird. Great show.
No, I remember. It was one of Kevin Smith's, like, you know, he used to go to colleges and give, like, lectures and stuff. I remember he mentioned that he really liked David Cross, and I'd never heard David Cross before.
Oh, David Cross is great.
Yeah, his comedy. Mr. Show's amazing. Yeah,
with Bob Odenkirk.
Odenkirk
that's
again.
Incredible. Like,
yeah.
Those sketches are they're something else, man.
They're really.
I watched some of them recently, and they're still so far out and interesting and. Like just stuff.
Mr. Show was so good, and then I remember watching something stand up and then finding out as Arrested Development, and then, you know, going from there, and then Jeffrey Tambor as well.
Oh man, incredible!
That I knew.
Have you seen the Larry Sanders Show?
Of course.
Yeah. So I knew Jeffrey Tambor from that as well, and he's incredible in that as well. That's a really slept on show, man.
Did you watch Transparent?
No, I haven't got around to watching that.
Very good.
Very good at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
he's amazing.
It's kind of shady now because he's part of the Me Too movement, so it's a bit awkward. But
right.
You know, still, he's in character. So that was the Real Deal and Fresco battle. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to ask about. You were here in the eye of the storm for Don't Flop, but you never seemed to be on the big cards. You weren't on 4th Birthday. You weren't on To the Test 10. You weren't on Distinction. Like, why not?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I just felt like I don't know at the time. Like I guess I hadn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just timing or something. I wasn't around for certain events or something like that, or like I wasn't quite at that level. Maybe like I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I could have easily seen you on To the Test 10. I mean, you battled some huge names by this point. You battled Real Deal and Fresco's mate. You battled Soul and Wizard and Soweto Kinch, and you know, you versus. I don't know, Bowski or something, you know what I mean? I think that would have been good.
Yeah. I don't know really, man. I think it was maybe like, I don't know, to do with some like, I don't know, I'm maybe not the most marketable rapper. Like I'm a bit strange, and maybe they didn't know like where to put me or whether I'd get that bigger view. You know, if they're thinking of people that are going to get views and draw a crowd and all that kind of thing, maybe I was one of those kind of slightly more low key kind of guys that just wasn't. I don't know, man.
No, I get that, and I mean, I'm not trying to stir shit or anything. I'm just curious, really, kind of looking back, like because your verse tracker, you know, we're getting into an era now. 2012 really was your last sort of big year when you were battling fairly regularly, you know, the real deal on Fresco sort of went down, I guess, at the end of 2011. So, I mean, what was it like being part of Don't Flop when it was really taking off, when it was quite a cultural force for a time?
Yeah, it was a really cool thing, man. You know, like I used to always enjoy going to the events and stuff, and you know, people were like, you know, all the people, the staff were all cool and stuff. It was always like, you know, a good time to randomly turn up at some pub somewhere and like, you know, just hang out with people and see different people and different events and stuff like that. So yeah, it was cool, man, and it felt like it was building up to be like a big thing. It felt like it was kind of gathering momentum, and like people were stepping their game up, and the events were getting bigger, and it was gradually kind of, you know, building up. So yeah, it was really exciting, man. It was cool. And
I've not seen this clash, but how was the battle versus Mickey?
Oh, it was good, man. I think, I enjoyed that one. It was fun. Like, shout out Mickey, man. Mickey's the dude. It was fun. I think my performance was pretty okay. I had some pretty good bars in it and stuff. I had a few schemes that like got big reactions and stuff like that, and it was it was cool, man. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you sort of factored in more of a sort of raise the bar battler, like you'd be the headliner on a smaller card rather than like that was kind of how it worked out. And you were also part of something really cool at the end of 2012 that Don't Flop did, where they went up to the Fringe and you battled.
Oh man,
you battled Most Prob there. How was that?
That was really cool, man. It was like, that was such a cool thing to like be involved in, because I'm like a big stand-up comedy fan. Like, I'm kind of doing that now at the moment, like
cool.
in the early stages of it. And so yeah, man, I've been up to the Fringe like 3 or 4 times, I think, by that point, to like go and watch stand-up shows and like weird plays and performance pieces and stuff like that. And so to get to do like that thing at the Underbelly, and like, you know, the crowd was really cool. It was like a random mixture of people. Everyone was like, you know, drinking and having a good night, and it was good vibes and stuff. It was really fun, man. I enjoyed it, and like it was cool to battle Most Prob. Shout out Most Prob as well.
Yeah.
It was a really good experience, man. And
how were the crowd?
Yeah, they were cool. They were like, you know, they were a little bit rowdy and drunk by that point in the evening, and everyone was kind of like, I don't know, people were reacting to stuff and like laughing and like seemed to be enjoying it. I watched that one back earlier, and the crowd was cool, man. It was a real mix of people as well. It wasn't like a battle crowd. It was just people that were like out on that particular night, and they just turned up to this like little bar bit that we're in. So there's like a real mix of like different types of people, different ages, and like stuff like that. It was kind of fun to do, like 2 battles in front of a different crowd that's like not normally there to see battles and stuff. It was fun.
And it's interesting to hear that you're moving towards the stand-up comedy stuff, because, you know, some of your rounds are really funny. Like, I think especially the first round against Big J, the idea of him and Balski as like, what is it, like walruses or whales in the water, and you being Amber, like you keep taking it further than you think it's gonna go, but it's always really satisfying. Like, you get a lot of funny jabs in there, like.
Yeah, I was happy with the stuff I wrote for that battle, man. I had quite a lot of like, one thing I was like trying to focus on like around that time was like, some of the stuff is like a lot of one-liners and short stuff sort of put together. So I was trying to like write bigger chunks with like a lot of punches and jokes sort of in them. So I had like that Attenborough kind of bit, and then I had like another bit about Crisps or something later on, which was like quite a long scheme, and I kind of like unpacked it out a bit, the idea kind of thing. But I was pleased with that like first round. It was. Yeah, I thought it was quite funny visual and stuff, and yeah. And
you faced off against someone that could maybe be ascribed as being somewhat of a new breed version of yourself to a certain extent, Harry Baker. And you know, I remember when this dropped, and I was so excited because I was just a complete Harry Baker fanboy at this point. You know, I was really into the sort of merging of spoken word and battle rap and all that sort of idea. And I think he'd only had a few battles by this point. And he is absolutely fantastic. This one I really like, but this one, it pisses me off the crowd. They're so talkative.
It was a little bit weird. It was I remember it was kind of like throwing me off a little bit that like yeah, I don't know. Like I kept like feeling like I couldn't really build up steam with schemes, I guess, rhyme by accident.
Yeah.
And then like it's just natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a little bit frustrating and stuff. The crowd was they're a bit like rowdy and stuff, but yeah, it was good, man. Again, like a cool person that I got to battle, Harry Baker, man. He's awesome. So it was just cool. I got to I got to clash with him. I felt like, I don't know, I watched that one back. I felt like I was a bit mean to him, to be honest. I made a lot of jokes about his appearance and stuff, and I think like I went a bit overkill with it. I mean,
that's the game, though, right? Like,
yeah, I do. I do feel like it's a little bit like I went a little bit too far with that. It was a bit harsh. But then like some of the stuff, like I think like I broke down his cadence and the way he delivers stuff quite well, and some other stuff. So yeah, maybe it was okay. But I think it's like the first round. I was like, oh, your face is crazy and your teeth and da 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 da. I was just like, oh, it's kind of like. Just a bit mean, maybe. I don't know.
And now I want to look at you versus Heretic on Sunburn 2. There's been about 18 months between Harry and Heretic. Was this a conscious decision, pulling back from battle rap?
It was kind of due to health reasons, man.
Right.
Like, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in, like, 2000... Yeah, it would have been like 2015, I think.
Okay.
So I took some time out to kind of like deal with that and stuff, and that was kind of weird because it's like a lot of the I don't know, like the weaknesses I think I had in my battles were like energy and like projection and those kind of things, and I started to like choke in a few battles in a row and like not be as confident with remembering stuff, and I hadn't realised that I was kind of ill like during that whole time, and then I kind of got diagnosed with that and then kind of got better. So that was like the first battle back after that when I was feeling kind of like okay again. I think maybe it was a bit too early because my performance was a bit shaky and I couldn't really remember stuff that well, and like I look like super pale in the footage as well. So yeah, I think like that was kind of part of it. That was the reason there was a gap anyway. But I was always like, oh, okay, I want to go back and like do a good battle and have a good performance and be like, yeah, and get back on it kind of thing. But yeah, wasn't maybe the best performance, although you know I enjoyed the battle. Shout out to Heretic as well, he's cool.
See heavy lines that hold shit down, that's what I build my foundation on. How come every clip of you looks like you have foundation on? I'm saying, what's your brand of makeup, Don? Check it, it's awesome.
We discussed this battle actually on our episode, which was an early episode, and if I remember correctly, I haven't actually gone back and listened, I think I had Heretic winning quite cleanly in that episode. I actually have you winning on rewatch.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't think.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I think Heretic's angles are a little broad, perhaps, and I think you just have just sort of funnier little lines that sort of stick with me a bit better. And I mean, fair to say you seem quite nervous in the battle, maybe more so than normal.
Yeah, I think I was, man. Like, you know, I hadn't, like you said, there's quite a gap, and like a lot of stuff had happened in Don't Flop during that time. It was like a weird time to have to take a break because, like you said, stuff was starting to blow up around that time and things were getting bigger. So I had sort of really bad timing with not being able to battle during that time and stuff. So like, I don't know, I think maybe I was a little worried that like, you know, stuff had moved on and whatever. It was the first event I've been to for a while. There's a lot of new people there and like hadn't battled for a while. I wasn't sure whether people were still, you know, into watching me battle and stuff like that. So I guess probably I was a little bit nervous in that one, yeah.
Yeah, understandable. And this is the first battle, as you say, of Sunburn 2. And, you know, Heretic has some good stuff here. Stowaway would go away, you just did. People more excited to see Bleak return. We get
Shout out to Bleak.
We get some slips into Partridge as well. And he sort of goes at your music, like take a random musical buzzword and extend it with wave.
Right, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
You talk about being made in the 80s in your first like Master of Puppets. I mean, I do a Metallica podcast actually. So
no way, really, man.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Yeah. It's just been an advert for my back catalog here.
Yeah, check out my other podcasts.
Heavy lines hold you down. What I built my foundation on. How come every clip of yours it looks like you've got foundation on?
Yeah, that's pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah. You call him a rainforest princess, which I guess is kind of harking back to the Bowers stuff.
It was like a little bit of a callback to that.
Yeah. Really nice. And then again, you mentioned the thing that you can't, it's riddling your memory, the Aeon Festival, battled and Unan on stage and shit the bed, you say. And
then sort of shit the bed while saying that line about shitting the bed.
Yeah, you sort of turned to and then, Yeah.
And then had a little stumble. I'd love to say that was meta and I did it deliberately, but it was genuine.
Heretic quotes you versus Pedro, which actually isn't online anymore, frustratingly.
Yeah, I think it was on the demo channel.
It was.
That channel got nuked, didn't it? And all the videos are gone.
It did, yeah, which is kind of heartbreaking. As a historian of this shit, amateurly, like that is kind of. But yeah, he talked about. You said like, it's like I really hate golf because I'm not playing around. And I mean, yeah,
I think I did have. I had some dubious golf-related wordplay in the Pedro battle. That is entirely possible.
Yeah. And Heretic sort of clowns that at the end of his round. What's the use of having good drive if you can't get it down to a tee? I mean, everyone's done golf bars. Like, there's so many things you can play on. You know what I mean? So,
it's one of those sports where you've got like just bits of equipment and different names you can assemble a scheme with. Like.
Yeah, exactly. But in this round, in Heretic second, the smoke comes on the stage, and that was fire. People chant as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That was weird, man. I was like, there's just a smoke machine like randomly went off, like a dry ice machine. That was just like, don't know, put a little interesting spin on it, I guess.
Yeah, and you approach him as a condescending professor, that sort of stuff. He being well chuffed from Rob Wilson called him black. And then just like lots of nice kind of internal stuff, like, I don't have a punchline in store for that. That's just an awkward fact caught on cam. And internal consistencies, really pleasant, intricate stuff.
Thanks,
and you apparently had claimed against Mickey that you invented the nerdy style. This is Heretic in the third.
I didn't really, man. I literally, I had a bar where I said I literally said it. I can't remember the bar now. I was just saying that like a couple there was. I just said when I started there was no one like.
Right.
I can't remember the bar. It was like there's no one like Jefferson, Grist, Eek, Most Prob, or Mixie. And then the bar was like, I'm not. I'm a humble dude. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I just came through with some different shit and maybe made it easier. So I literally said in the bar, like, I'm not saying I'm a genius or I invented this style or anything. I just happened to be the first person to like be a bit of a weird nerdy guy and don't flop or whatever. And then he was like, you claim you invented the whole style, and I was just like, oh. Yeah.
And Heretic is here to out Gervais, out Coogan, and out David Mitchell you.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Yeah. And I mean, you incorporate some props in the third, bring out a little Predator toy.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking with that. I thought like, I don't know, maybe I just thought no one's done props in Don't Flop since like way back or something.
Yeah.
So then, like, I think I had some like bar about his hair, and then I probably had that like figure on a shelf in my room, and I just saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. Oh no, and I've got a slightly bigger one. Maybe I can write something in where I get the slightly bigger one out of my pocket so people can see it more clearly or something. I don't know. It's really stupid. I don't really. It's just being silly, basically. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was the you did battle on King of the Rolls as well, but this was the kind of last sort of high pro. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Sunburn 2 just before we move on. Like any good memories, because it was kind of a classic event. So many good battles.
Yeah, it was, man. It was like one of the Blood in the Water events or whatever. It's always cool to be at those ones and see those like big battles and stuff going on, and it's I mean, and like. It's a cool venue for like hanging out in between battles and stuff like that at Jam, and like it was just a really good day, man. It's nice to, it's one of those things where you catch up with different people from different parts of the country. Everyone sort of comes together and like catches up, and people are freestyling and drinking, and it's a good time, man. So
Mm-hmm.
It was a good event. I was a bit annoyed with my performance and like slipping up and like not having the comeback battle maybe I'd wanted to or something maybe, but it was cool because I just spent the rest of the day hanging out with people, hung out with Adam and a bunch of people, and it was good.
Adam had forgiven you by this point.
Yeah, me and Adam were cool at that point. It'd been 5 years or whatever it was in between. He'd forgiven me for my former freestyle efforts.
So Hulk Battle's the last battle. This was in April
I think it is.
2016. So almost 3 years coming up to this battle pass now. We're recording
this a while ago, man.
Early 2019. So again, haven't seen this clash briefly. How was it?
It was cool, man. It was like a fun little event to do. It was a pretty small crowd and stuff, and it was like a little intimate venue, which was fun. And like it was, you know, both Bowersvs was there and Hulk and Mickey. It was cool to see those guys, and like, yeah, I enjoyed the battle, man. I don't know, it was okay. I had some pretty decent bars, I think, from what I can remember. And I met like Hulk stumbled in his second and third, and basically sort of just gave up by the end and stuff. So it wasn't really like a full-on clash. So it wasn't like a high-energy competitive kind of thing. It was more of just like a low-key. I was just like doing jokes and stuff kind of thing. But yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah. So any clamour to get back? Like any desire to return to the ring, or are you more on the stand-up game? Or
I would like to do some more battles, to be honest, man. I've been like, I don't know, like when I haven't been battling, I've sort of kept like one eye on like the battle stuff. I watch like Dirtbag Dan's podcast and like the watch battles on Maroon Day and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, it's something I've been thinking about definitely. If people wanna give me a battle, I'll do it for sure.
It's the best time for it, but it makes sense for you to return to Don't Flop.
Yeah, man, I think like, I don't know, like I think my performances will be better. I think my writing will be better as well. So it would be a cool thing to do. And hopefully I can hook it up at some point.
So, as always, we'll close with a few quick-fire questions. Actually, just before I do, I've got a few questions from the Twitter and Facebook. Again, follow us at BattleRapResume. Proctor asking, ask Stowaway if he's actually lived in Coventry. I'm from there, and I remember him mentioning it in a battle one time.
I have, man. When I was real young, like my family are from Rugby in Coventry in the Midlands, right. And so I grew up there till I was about like, I guess like 6 or 7 or something. I used to live in Coventry, and like a lot of my family there. I was there like over New Year visiting people actually. So yeah, I'm kind of from Coventry originally. That's my origin.
Kind of from Coventry, kind of from Wales, kind of from Bristol.
Yeah. I've moved around everywhere, like all over the place, and lived in a lot of different places. So it's kind of why I've got like no accent as well, or I've got like a mix of lots of different accents, which is kind of amalgamates to having no accent or something. But yeah.
Pamflit asking what got
shout out Pamflit.
Yeah, of course, Pamflit. What got him to decide to do his first battle? I mean, we kind of discussed that beforehand. Pamflit saying, said he put me on Blood in the Water too, and I remember specifically asking for Stowaway because he had such a dope debut. Oh,
nice one, man. Pam, thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I couldn't remember exactly how we like linked up and started doing stuff, but that's very cool, man. Yeah. Maybe that's what happened. I
mean, I know technically you weren't flying the Welsh flag for Battle Rap, but talking of flying the Welsh flag for Battle Rap is Canel. And Canel...
shout out Canel,
I mean, man. What a legend, Canel, right? Like
Me and Bansky and Canel went to Copenhagen a while back, and man, it was such a funny weekend. It was amazing. We were supposed to battle, and the battle didn't happen, but then we ended up getting like guest list to a Ghostface gig, and like just doing a bunch of other stuff. It was really fun, man. Shout out Canel, that dude's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, Canel just saying, where have you been? I miss him. You were sound.
Oh, nice one, man. Yeah. I'll be back whenever, man. Just someone give me a shout with some opponents. I'll get right in.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Dave, who's a great friend of the show, says, "How did you feel after your sunburn return? What are your current plans? Everything really. What are you planning on?"
Okay, well, like I said, I wasn't over the moon with my performance against Heretic and stuff. Like I think it was okay. I didn't completely like choke or anything, or like
no.
Like, I don't know, fall on my face and break my nose in the middle of the battle or anything, completely terrible. But I wasn't like massively happy about it, to be honest, man. I feel like it could have gone better, but I'm doing a lot better health-wise, and I'm sort of more back on track with that kind of stuff. So I think like if I do a battle now, it'll be like, I'll be able to remember stuff easier, and I'll be able to like do a live performance and have more energy and projection and that kind of thing. So yeah. Mm-hmm. But as for other stuff, I'm just I got some music coming out soon. Just like a couple of like rap tracks, and yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
And as always, we'll close up with a few quick-fire questions, Stowaway. So, what's your favourite Don't Flop battle?
Ooh, tough one, man. Geez, like out of all of them in all of history,
I guess just the ones you love the most, like.
Okay, man. All right, I'm going to pick, because there's been so many since, I'm just going to go way back and pick an obscure one. The battle with, I think it's English and Scissors against Eurgh and Kruger.
Oh, where it rains.
Like, where it rains when they're in the park, because it's just like...
That's ground zero, like.
Yeah, that's like... Enlish and Scissors, man, they were like big influences to me when I was like first starting out and stuff. And one of my favourite things about the Pendragon battle is there's a couple of bars and you can see Enlish and Scissors like behind me absolutely cracking up, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing, man, because like making those dudes laugh, like, that's one of the highlights of my battle career probably. But yeah, I go with that one, man, just because it's real basic. It's like you just got 4 really good characters. There's just like quite simple punches. They're just like the high top fade with letters shaved in the back saying I've got AIDS. It's just real like early, just I don't know, nostalgia kind of vibes.
What about King of the Dot?
King of the Dot, oh man, I don't know. I like a lot of like kid. I used to watch a lot of Kid Twist's early battles, so like him and Jack shit was pretty good and stuff. But I don't know. That's a really tough one, man.
It's tough off the top. Yeah, I mean,
I can't think, man. One of like I don't know. Pat Stay is like one of my favourites. So maybe one of his, man. I can't think of. I can't think of any particularly, man. Sorry.
Sure. We're getting flashbacks to the whole Adam situation. What about you? What about you?
Oh God.
What about URL?
Man, I love Head Ice's battles. Like, he's one of my favourites. So like, I don't know, man. Or like, Hollow versus what's Steve's name? I'm blanking on his name. Sweat Patches guy. There's bars about him having sweat patches and stuff, and he always has like a bottle of Hennessy and stuff. I'm blanking on his name for some reason. Goods, yeah. Like Hollow and Goods, or like one of those early Head Ice battles, man. Okay. One of those for sure. They're just hilarious. Like Goods is just his timing and his sarcasm and stuff is just like it's ridiculous. Yeah, he's amazing.
And off battles, what's your favourite film?
Ooh, good question. Maybe Blade Runner. Like, or let me think, what else is good? I really like Larry Clark's films, so Kids is like one of my favourite films.
Okay, yeah, that's a good film.
And like a few of his. I don't know, man. I like some kind of 80s horror stuff as well, like old slasher films and Italian zombie films and stuff like that. But like, yeah, maybe Blade Runner or the Solaris remake, I really like. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And I appreciate this will be difficult, but top of the head answer, favourite musical artist or band that are in no way hip-hop related?
Oh, okay, man. There's a band called Every Time I Die. They're like a metal kind of band. They're hard to describe. It's like southern blues rock mixed with like really heavy technical metal. So like a really, really heavy version of Lynyrd Skynyrd, but they're like really like rock and roll, and like they have cool lyrics and stuff. Their singer's like an English professor, so they have like really cool lyrics with these like really intricate like references to different stuff. And you know, I'm kind of a geek with like going into all the words and picking out references and stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Do you know Me Without You?
I do. Yeah. I like that band, man. Yeah. They're an interesting band. Yeah.
They played Arctangent a few years ago. Actually, I saw them there.
Yeah. I went to Arctangent a couple of years ago. It was a really cool festival, man.
Yeah, it was definitely
a lot of great bands.
So many great bands. Like I saw Enemies, Toe, who else were there? And So Watch You From Afar, like, you know, just
I've never been to a festival and watched so many bands. I basically watched like one band after the other for sort of most of the weekend. So I was watching like 8 or 9 bands a day and stuff. I was just like, oh, okay, well now I've got to go over and watch this other band. It was like, and it's because it's such a small festival. It's all like
tiny.
You can walk between the stages really easily. So yeah.
And I guess finally, how do people get at you? Your music, you know, anything you want to promote?
If you're intrigued about my 80s synthwave type music, you can go to aminova.bandcamp.com, or I have a SoundCloud as well. All my old rap music and beats and spoken word stuff is on a Bandcamp called stowarchive.bandcamp.com. So if you're really interested in going back through my like early stuff, there's like a crew album I did with a couple of other people. There's like some instrumentals. There's like my spoken word album, which is really pretentious and intense and heavy, and like some rap stuff I did and whatever. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll be back on Twitter sometime soon when I've got like my new music finished, and I'll be about. So yeah. Yeah,
well, send me the links.
Yeah, me say hello.
Yeah, send me the links for all you mentioned, then I'll put that in the description down below. and people can
Yeah,
go
we'll do,
out
man.
and find that stuff. And everyone go back and watch some of these battles as well, especially watch Stowaway versus Soul versus Bowers. As we said as well, the Big J material is hilarious. Like, there's tons of good material. And as always, follow the show at BattleRapResume. Get in touch with me, battleresume@gmail.com. Patreon is there if you want to help support us. iTunes as well. Thank you, guys. This is the first thing I've recorded in 2019, actually. So we're coming up to 3 years of the show, which is fucking crazy. So it's been a joy.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course, man.
I appreciate it. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. No. Thank you, bro. This has been really, really good. So,
Yeah, it's good talking to you.
Stowaway, thanks again, man.
All right, I'll catch you soon. Take care.